These are the properties you want to try to flip in your first ones. You want to flip a Now, some of you are like, this might be a little work, because not all realtors are created equally, and not all wholesalers are created equally. You need to identify these individuals. How do you identify them? I've even been scammed by a wholesaler before. This is not to scare you, it's just how do you deal with a wholesaler? When you're trying to deal with wholesalers, you need to watch as much videos on YouTube like this one as possible. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are interested in flipping houses in Florida, this video is for you. If you want to learn how to flip houses in Florida, how to go about finding these deals and getting funded and getting it all to the mix and nitty-gritty of flipping a house in Florida, this video is for you. In today's video, we're going to go over a property. I'm actually standing in a property right now that's being flipped in Orlando, Florida, but this could be done anywhere in Florida. So here's a few things you're going to want to do when you're trying to flip a property in Florida. You want to make sure when you're buying this property, you have enough space to actually make a profit. What does that mean? You have to find discounted properties. You're gonna have to buy properties either from wholesalers on the MLS for a discounted price, and you have to find these properties and identify them to make sure they'll make sense for your particular deal. Now, some of you are like, this might be a little work, but here's what you can do. You can get an agent to help you find these deals on the MLS and give them your criteria. Now, this is what you need to identify. What is the actual property you're trying to flip? Are you trying to flip block homes, wood frame homes, which I would tell you to stay away from if you don't have experience for your first time investors? These are the properties you want to try to flip in your first ones. You want to flip a brick home. Identify a brick home, 3-2, minimum square footage of about 1,100 square feet or 1,000 square feet. That's what the average buyer is looking for in this market for a starter home in the beginning. So if you're looking for that in those particular areas, I wouldn't tell you to do a modular home right away. I wouldn't tell you to do a mobile home. You want to find a single family residence that you can find that's easy for you to get financed. Why? Because financing becomes very easy when it's a single family home. You have to go find a niche person to actually finance, let's say a mobile home, for instance, or a tiny home. I wouldn't do any of these things. Just find a single family property that you can actually flip. You can find it through a wholesaler. Now, I talked about finding it through the MLS with a realtor. Now, you gotta get a realtor that actually knows the business and actually can help you, because not all realtors are created equally and not all wholesalers are created equally. You need to identify these individuals. How do you identify them? One, you're gonna ask, hey, how many deals have you purchased for an investor, for a realtor in the past 24 months? Now, they tell you 2 or 3, I think that's sufficient. They tell you 10, you hit the jackpot. But anyone that hasn't done anything with any investor, it's very hard for them to help you or navigate, because sometimes you're gonna rely on their knowledge to help you because you're new in the industry. So another thing, when you're trying to deal with wholesalers, you need to watch as much videos on YouTube like this one as possible to get a better understanding of how to deal with wholesalers. Not all wholesalers are created equally. I have some videos in YouTube that we'll probably put here or here that you can actually watch on how to deal with wholesalers. I've even been scammed by a wholesaler before. This is not to scare you, it's just how do you deal with a wholesaler. If you're gonna flip in Florida, this is how you're gonna find your discounted properties. The next other way you're gonna find discounted properties is through networking, talking to people. If you don't live in Florida, this is not for you. But if you live in Florida, talk to people. Let's say that the aunt passed away, the mom passed away, and they wanna sell the property. They know you have the resources, you can buy it. And guys, when you're trying to flip in Florida, you do not need all the money to flip. You can flip a property with zero money out of your pocket. You can use OPM and hard money to do it. Now, there's a whole way to structure that. I have another video about this as well to help you structure that. But that's another way you can actually flip a property in Florida. So how do you identify properties and how do you buy them? You're gonna buy them from wholesalers, people you know, on the MLS. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of things. When you identify the property, you gotta buy for the right price. So you gotta buy the property for at least, I typically say 70% of the after repair value. What does that mean? Let's make this very simple. Let's say you can sell a property for $100,000. We'll do simple math here. 70% of $100,000 is $70,000. Now you know where you kind of need to start. Now you gotta subtract whatever the rehab that is. So the renovations you gotta do in this property. So let's say the renovations is $20,000. So that means from the 70% of the $100,000 you can possibly sell the house for, you have $70,000. Now you gotta subtract the $20,000 for the rehab, which leaves you with $50,000. That means your max purchase price, which is your PP, is $50,000. You cannot offer any more than $50,000 on this particular deal because you're doing the 70% rule method. And if you're doing it that way, your chances of making a mistake is very minimal. But if you don't do it that way, the chances go up higher and higher. So you wanna make sure you're actually following this golden rule that we all in real estate know about. They all say, oh, 70%. So the reason why I'm in this house is because of this property. If you follow the YouTube channel, you're gonna see from the beginning to the end. In this property, we're adding a 4th bedroom, permitting the work, getting things done. So if you follow that formula, you can actually flip in Florida. Now, if you go against this, it's very challenging. So next thing you want to look for in Florida, you want to look for houses that's in growing areas. You don't want to flip where there's been one flip property in the past, let's say 24 months. You want to see, have they sold properties that's been flipped? This is going to give you an indication that people are looking to move in that area, that there's growth happening in that area. People are transitioning out of rentals or properties in that area is being converted into family stable communities where people want to move to. You want to know this. You do not want to buy a property where it's all rentals and people don't want to move there. You don't want to buy a property where you don't have a good comp. So you might think that, okay, yes, I can sell a property for $100,000, right? Like we said before. But what if that $100,000 property is 2 miles, 3 miles away and it's not in your close vicinity? So when you're doing your comp and you're doing your ARV, you have to make sure that it's relevant and relative to the area that you're trying to buy the property and fix and flip. Because like you know, right? In Miami, you could buy a property on one street is $1 million. The next street over, it's like $700,000. So you want to make sure you're being very mindful of that. And how you're gonna be mindful of that? Just doing research, just watching videos, looking at what's actually selling on the actual street. If an agent's helping you, they can actually tell you what's selling in that community and even on that very same street. And the next tool you can use Zillow. People say, oh, Zillow's not good for giving you like actual numbers, like, oh, this house will sell for this amount. But sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But what I'm gonna tell you is you want to make sure you understand your numbers before you make any purchases, okay? So if you're looking to flip properties in Florida, make sure you identify the property, source, which is gonna be wholesalers, people you know, or MLS, which a realtor will help you find. Next thing is getting money. You can get money from a hard money lender. I'm a hard money lender. I can help you fund your deals. If you don't have all the money, find people in your network that you can use for the deposit. When you use hard money, you're gonna put anywhere between 15 to 20% down on some of your deals, especially for your first time. If you have some experience, that goes down. But if you don't, you're gonna put around 15, 20% down. So do the math on that, right? So let's say you're buying a property for $200,000, you're gonna put 20% down, you're gonna put $40,000 down. Just to kind of get yourself prepared for that. That shouldn't stop you. So make sure if you're gonna flip properties in Florida, you understand how to find it, how to get the money. And the last but not least is contractors. Make sure you're networking to find people that can help you flip properties. That means a contractor. Without a contractor, your flip becomes a nightmare. So make sure you're networking, talking to people that can actually help you in this business, okay? Don't just go in there blindly. So when you're actually buying the property, have a contractor go walk with you. Have multiple give you bids. Build those relationships. Build a rapport with these people. These people will help you finish your property and check their references. In Florida, check the references. You probably had a good experience or bad experience, it doesn't matter. Check contractors' references. Not all of them are created alike. Make sure you verify their work, check their work, see past work, look at their catalog, look at all these things and call. Because what makes and break you in real estate in Florida is this: buying the property right and making sure you have the right contractor to fix it for you. So you're not blowing money from contractor to contractor because he's not good or he's not adequate enough. Make sure you get these things right. So those are the 3 things you need to kind of really do. Find a deal, get the money, get the contractor. All right, hopefully you found some value in this video. If you're gonna flip in Florida, don't buy framework homes just yet, unless that's just your area that you're dominating. But all that said, thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Gene. I am a hard money lender, investor, and contractor in the state of Florida. And I do flips all throughout the state of Florida. If the deal makes sense, I will go there and make sure it makes happen. See you guys in the next video. I am out.